quite a double standard because he's standing by Hegseth, but if you remember, he sang a different tune when he called for America's first black defense attorney, Lloyd Austin.
So we're going to show you a clip of The View. Sunny Hostin, the most racist woman on television, she's very upset that Donald Trump has not thrown Pete Hegseth under the bus, right? There was the signal thing. It's very serious. Pete Hegseth is a bad dude. I 100% back Pete Hegseth. I 100% back Donald Trump backing Pete Hegseth. I think he's cleaning up the military. We talked about it yesterday. We're having record high amount of people trying to get into the military now as we're raising the standards again because we had lowered the standards because the Democrats and Biden had basically gutted the military. Here is Sunny Hostin. She's very upset that Pete Hegseth is not being fired by Donald Trump, and she tries to make a comparison that does not work out that well.
There's quite a double standard because he's standing by Hegseth, but if you remember, he sang a different tune when he called for America's first black defense attorney, Lloyd Austin, appointed by President Biden in 2021 to resign after he failed to disclose that he had undergone a surgical operation to treat prostate cancer, and he was kind of gone for about 4 days. I'm not saying that that was good either, but I don't think those two things are the same because Trump said Austin should be fired immediately for improper professional conduct and dereliction of duty. If that was the case then President Trump, that's the case now.
Okay, lady, let me clean that up for you. First off, it has nothing to do with race. Of course, she makes a point that Lloyd Austin was black. Nobody cares about that. Well, you people care about it, but we don't care about it. Lloyd Austin had surgery and apparently did not tell anybody about it. So our Secretary of Defense was missing for a couple days and they did not tell anybody. That is why perhaps you might fire somebody. If the Secretary of Defense has a serious health issue and is going to be in the hospital, oh, and by the way, the president was mentally incapacitated, you might want to know that somebody knows how to turn on the lights over at the DOD. You might want to know that, but okay, fine, you want to make it about race. And now here's Whoopi. Back in March, here she is, when this happened with Lloyd Austin, explaining that he doesn't have to tell anybody when the story finally broke. So he had disappeared for a couple days. The story broke that he was missing, that we were basically missing the head of the Defense Department. And then here's Whoopi explaining that he shouldn't have had to tell anybody anything.
Everybody should know about
I think it's a little. I think it's very similar to when the Defense Secretary Austin was ill and didn't disclose it.
See, I think, but they did disclose. I'm sorry, baby. They did disclose it.
Well,
they did. They told. They went to the. Well, he went when he went to the hospital and found out what it was.
But it wasn't right away.
He made. Well, who tells stuff right away until they know?
Well, this has been a long time.
Yeah, but I think.
What? Who tells stuff right away until they know? Well, if you're the head of the Department of Defense, and that's a pretty important job. That's a pretty big gig, right? We'd put that in, I don't know, that's a top 10 gig that you could get if you're in the government. And you're going to the hospital and you're not going to be on your cell phone and you might, somebody might reach out to you and go, boy, they got the bomb. We've got a few minutes. You might want to let somebody know, but of course they did not do that. But what they do is flip on literally everything. What is good when they're doing it is bad when Trump's doing it. What's good when Trump's doing it is bad when you get it. You get it. That's how it works.